Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be doing something I wanted to try out after doing the season 5 of the Imaginarium Theater. I thought it'd be interesting to make a little tier list of the characters like for that season, and just talk about some decent picks, some good picks, some bad picks, so on and so forth. I have of course all the types that we have, the element types. So we have Pyro, Dendro, and Electro are the themes for this season, and then we have some oddballs out because these are our special guest stars. And then so I have the special guest stars second, and I have the opening cast first, and I just have everyone else just kind of thrown about. So like I'm basically ranking them off of from what I've seen when I played, the usefulness, the utility, what they can do, what they can provide, how well they can work and whatnot. So let's get right into it. So starting off, we have Klee, and Klee's not like a terrible character, but she's not that good. And on top of that, she's got a very like selfish play style. Like you gotta wait so long for her cooldowns to throw her skill out. Like you get 2 skills, which is cool, but you gotta wait like pretty long time for the third one. I think it's like 16 seconds or something. And then her burst, you gotta stay on her. It's just so much. I find that in the theater, you obviously don't have you don't always have optimal teams and like great team builds. So I find that I do a lot of switching around and spam skill, spam burst, and she doesn't do much when you're doing stuff like that, which that might not be the best play style, but I perfect the theater every time, so it's working out for me. I'm gonna put her in C tier, just because like I said, she just doesn't do enough. You switch to her, you throw her 2 skills out, okay, you get a couple of bombs out, they explode, or the enemies don't even walk into them, or they just miss. And sometimes the enemies in the theater, they'll spawn at the top right quadrant, and then you kill them, and then they spawn at the bottom left quadrant or area of that of the arena, and then it's bro, they're mad far from the bombs, and there's no character to scoop up those bombs and throw them. It's just, she just doesn't work out. So it's I used her, and I was I had a little idea for her, and it just wasn't that well, and I was just all right, this blows. I'm either never using her again, or she's just gonna be in the background. Xinyan is F tier. This is just a horrendous character. You probably don't even have her built, and you have to use the trial. And we're already off to a bad start. This is the opening cast, and we've got a C tier and an F tier. It's looking great. Xinyan, her DPS isn't there. She's got an S shield. I think the trial built her with Sacrificial Greatsword and Noblesse. I believe that's what it was. So you can get a party buff when you use her burst. Yeah, that's cool. And then her skill gives you a shield. The shield's not completely useless. It's nice to have a shield, especially in a potentially chaotic game mode that theater can be. So there's some utility, but it's just you just don't get enough. That shield's not enough to do everything else. And I don't even remember if the trial has constellations. I'm going based off the trial because let's be real, you don't have her built. And if you do have her built, what's wrong with you, man? But yeah, F tier, she doesn't do enough, man. Next we have Tainari. This guy's goated, so good. S tier. He's just power. He's just quick. He's just quick swaps. You pop that skill, shoot, and then you just switch off. He has his burst, you switch in, pop that burst, switch off. He fits the play style that I use for the theater so well, because you just switch him, you just switch to him real quick, use his skill, and then you just use it real fast, switch to someone else, and just spam them. It's perfect. He's absolutely phenomenal. And then he works really well with the quicken, because obviously with only the 3 elements aside from these guys, the main reactions are burning, quicken slash aggravate, and overload. Overload over goat, bro. I fucking love overload. So like obviously the others he doesn't really do much, but that like that quicken, man, or aggravate, whichever one it was for Dendro. But man, that stuff goes in. He's just so fun. You just spam. You just in and out super fast. It's great. Next up we have Miko, and this is another character that's really, really good. Actually, I think I'll put her. I want to put her in S tier or A tier. The thing that gets weird with some of these characters is that like without like the proper supports, like my Miko is usually like really good, and then I found that in this mode she was just kind of like okay, because like I have this burst nuke build, so you know you just use her skill and you just use her burst and it just does a ton of damage on every bolt of lightning that comes down. And but you know you don't always have your Kujo Sara, you don't always have your Bennett, you don't always have your Chevreuse, like, so she wasn't always getting buffed. So like just her raw damage was like alright, but it wasn't doing enough. And like it has a little AoE to it, which is nice, but the enemies just like they don't get grouped up. There's no way of grouping them up. She underperformed because of that. She was still really good. She was still pretty strong, and if you just use her skill, then you get some pretty decent electro application for your other characters that may potentially need that. Next up we have Dory. If this wasn't an opening character, no one would be playing her in this. She is F tier, but she's above Xinyan. The reason being is that if well, to be fair, I have Dory built but not Xinyan. I might have found some like niche uses for Xinyan. I might have been like, oh man, this physical damage is really kind of useful, the physical damage bonus or whatever it is she gives. But Dory I have her C6, so I was like a little bit of energy recharge and a little bit of healing, and I was like, alright, this is kind of neat. But she sucks. She doesn't do much. She doesn't do enough. Like she did decent when I had like hyper carries. I think the first like 2 rounds I wanted to get rid of her. So I just kind of like threw it in with like super goats. So like my Titanari, my Yaimiko, and then my Kirara. I just like threw them all in one team. Or no, it wasn't these two. It was I think it was Dory, Xinyan, Miko, and then Kirara. And then like I just like spammed, like, because my Kirara is also C6, so I just spammed her burst and then spammed Miko's burst because I got a little bit of a bonus. That's what's cool about having so many characters built and so many constellations, is that they just have a random constellation that just helps out so much. And that even came up with Dory, because she gets to do a little bit of damage with her burst. It gets the shootout, and you get like healing and energy recharge. So it was like yeah, it's cool, but like I imagine if you use the trial Dory, I imagine it's like horrendous. I imagine it's like there's like no redeeming factor. You get like the world's smallest bit of healing, and then that's it. Next up is Kirara, my goat. She's A tier. The reason why I put her A tier is because like chances are you probably don't have a Kirara like mine, who's C6 and just like crazy amount of HP. I wouldn't say crazy. She's just got like a high amount. Crazy would be if I had like R5 Nilo weapon, then she'd be crazy. Excuse me. So she provides shield, which like generically is pretty good. She also applies Dendro, which like usually would be really good. The issue is that like you're playing Dendro in like the weirdest state possible. Like this is Dendro with like basically no bloom. Like there are some like water enemies, so you can like pseudo get some bloom, but like that's not really consistent, you know. There's only a couple of levels that have that, and it's like basic enemies. It's like water mimics and stuff. It's not like you're doing anything like crazy, but yeah, there's basically no bloom, so like you're essentially using her for like quicken or burning, and even burning is like it's like now you gotta have like this perfect team that does burning and then overload with the burning. There's just so much going on. But her decent application of Dendro, then the shield on top of that, the shield's like super goat. And her C6 burst, giving a little bit of a boost. She gives like I think when you use her burst, she gives like a burst. She gives a boost to other party members' burst and skills. I think something like that. But you get a boost from it. So like those little things, they just add up, and then just like there's like so many little things going on. It just all adds up. It's like she has like Klee's bombs. She has Xinyan's shield, and then she has nothing from Dori. Because if she had anything from Dori, you'd probably be dragging her down. So she has these two, and on top of that, she gives a buff. But I guess you could say she has like a buff in a sense, but she only gives like so little energy recharge. It's not even like an insane thing. But yeah, she just has a small combination, and on top of her like good typing, it just all works out very well. Next up, we have we have the special cast, special invites, or whatever they're called, special guests. So these guys are of elements that are not in here. So starting off with Watch Me Skate, she easily is S tier. I didn't even use her, but I don't have to like debate or anything. You pop her in, and probably on like a boss fight level, and you just decrease the resistance, and then bam, it's over. Her and like any DPS is probably like a perfect run against any boss, and two bosses, because you have two uses. So and she heals, she's debuffed, like it's like perfect. She's one of the best like supports, and supports are like gonna be very high up because like they're just super generic, so it's like super easy to just throw them in. Chiori's like F tier. Like I don't know if I'm tweaking or if they're tweaking, but if you don't have a C1 Chiori, then like what's the point? Like if you have C1 Chiori, then you have to run her and Zilonen. I think C1 is like if you have another Geo or something. But like I don't see the point. You don't have any Geo constructs. There's no Geo constructs here, so she can't have the second doll. There's no I don't know what Chiori is supposed to do. I'm so clueless as to what she's doing here. Because I don't know if I'm missing something. If I am missing something, let me know, and then then I'm just wrong. But yeah, sure, her little doll does a decent amount of damage, and if you have C1 and her and Zilonen, then you need to have two of them. But I just don't see like reactively wise, she doesn't do anything. She can't react with Dendro, and then the other two should just make a crystallized shield, and it's like, bro, like what am I gaining from that? Like I don't see it. Next up, we have Layla. Layla's not a character I have built, but I don't see too well what she would do. Like maybe some kind of melt team. Like if you get like her and like Arlecchino or like Linear or something, like maybe you can go with the melt team. But she does have a pretty decent shield. I'll put her top of C tier. The issue with these special the issue with these supporting guest characters, I never really use them because the three main types in the run all have there's like these like the special cards that buff the reactions. So like you can buff reactions like crazy, but like you can't buff any cryo reactions because they're just not there. So it's like maybe you have a crazy melt team with some of these characters, and you can throw Layla in, but that's a very specific thing. Like maybe you do, maybe you don't. Maybe you just have a generic shield Layla, and you just really like having shields. And like there's quite a few shield characters here that I can see you like switching between. So I could see her being used. That's why I'm not putting her in F tier. Or if you have like a friend with like a crazy Layla that you can borrow. Like I don't, but like I said, yeah, it's just I don't see the reactions going in, and I don't see the reactions going as hard as the other ones with like the end story buffs, and she just seems a little specific in like some teams. If you want to use her, she seems a little specific because now you got to pull these characters, and now you gotta, and like now you're spending all your things on like just random characters to try and build your team, and then like what if you have to use them for other things, and like let's say you use her on like let's say you use her on like a deluxe team. I don't know if that's actually a thing. I just chose a random character. But let's say you had to use your deluxe once in like an early round. Okay, now you can use her with deluxe once, but now you don't have deluxe, and you have one use of her, and it's like what kind of situation are you gonna find yourself in? Xingqiu is a lot better than that. I'm gonna put him in A tier because he fits so many things all at the same time, right? Because he has that like pseudo shield thing going on, and then he heals, and he provides Hydra application, which is like insane for all these Dendro characters that are around. So you can easily make like a Bloom, Hyper Bloom, Burgeon. You can do so much with him because of his element. Like Layla, you can only do like Superconduct or Melt. So it's like what's the point of bringing her along, unless you have like an insane Melt team. But then again you have to pull it. But then Xingqiu is like one Dendro, maybe two, and then like an Electro, and then like everything's good to go. Like you could pull him with like almost a random combination of any one of these characters, like him and like Baizu, Nahida, Cole, Yao Yao. I don't know if he works with Kave. Probably does. Yeah, and I'll hate them. Like any one of those characters. I don't know about Emily. I don't play Emily. Any one of those characters, and then you just throw in like a random like Electro, Chlorine, Shogun. Like it just works so well. Like he's insane. The only thing is actually we'll just put him S tier. This guy's just like insane all around. For this like element types, like he's what Layla wants to be. And now we have just the regular just typing characters, just regular characters that you would have to build of your own free will and whatnot. So I'll hate them. Them's like one of the best like DPSs, but I couldn't really like utilize him. Like when I had him, he just kind of was just like around. Like he didn't fit too well. Maybe that was my own fault. Maybe I ran him in like the wrong like team comps or something. But he just didn't do enough. Like I said, I like to like switch off and on between characters. And like this guy's like you like once you tap that skill, that shit's got a long ass cooldown. You gotta wait like 6 business days for it to finish, and then you gotta stand there. You gotta spam normal attacks. There's like enemies hitting you from all around the world. You gotta run to the enemies. Like shit just runs out so fast. Maybe if I used them in like a boss fight, that would have worked out better. But sometimes the boss fights are like the easy parts. The hard parts is trying to perfect those like random rounds, because it'll be like, you know, like protect the thing and make sure it doesn't get less than like 35%. And like these enemies are just running around. So you throw down a Bennett burst, and now the enemy's across the world. You gotta run over to them. You lose your Bennett burst. Like everything just works out in like a negative manner. In those like random like rounds. So like I hate them like you start running around, and it's like all right, now you've got less uptime on your, not less uptime, but less usage of your skill, and I get to pop his burst, and it just didn't work out for me. But yeah, I could see him doing well in like a boss fight. But I just have like other plans in boss fights. Next up is Amber. Amber is like F tier, but I have C6 Amber, so she was F tier still. And like some of the old like I have like a DPS Amber build, and like you can do like decent damage every now and then, and like yeah, it's fun, you know, you throw out the Baron Bunny, you shoot it, you blow it up, so it's a good time. But you just don't get much from it. like there's, you gotta aim, you gotta shoot, it's it sounds like it's a quick process, but it takes a while. You gotta stand there, and you're just standing there like aiming the bow. If you don't have a shield character, she's gonna get interrupted. The enemies move out the way, the Baron Bunny, and if they move, now you gotta stop aiming. You gotta push the Baron Bunny into them. So much going on. But if you have C6, it's your best bet is to just switch to her, use her burst, get the smallest buff, and the pyro application, or if they have something on them already, then you get the reaction. But like, other than that, it's not really that worth it. Like, I used her with like Kniech once, but the main focus of that team was Shogun, which I know sounds like a strange team already, but like it like smoked the enemies. But yeah, she just doesn't do enough. She just doesn't do enough. Even if you have C6 and like a great build, she's just kind of slow. She's kind of clunky. I love Amber, but she just doesn't work out. Arlecchino is like top of S tier. Arlecchino was like auto win. Like you don't have to use anyone else with her for most rounds. For most floors, she just auto wins. She just absolutely decimates. She does so much. Like those rounds with like the Hydro Mimics that I mentioned, she just solo just takes them out. And even if they start like self-destructing, like when they're like when the big chicken or whatever it is, and the frog, when they like blow up, she can just heal herself. Just pop her burst to dodge one, pop her burst to heal from the other one. Like it's insane how well she works. She can just absolutely tear that up. She can tear up any boss. If you have like one support, like a Bennett or like a Shinobu or something, like she just like decimates. She just does so much. She just does too much, like all on her own. Next up, we have, I don't think I have to go on about that. Next up, we have Baizu. Baizu is great. He's a shield character. He's a healer character. He's Dendro. The only thing is that like Dendro's kind of weird in this, like I've mentioned before. So unless you have you have to use him. So like, as great as it is to have like a shield and a healer, like for his element, you have to have him with like an Electro DPS or or like a burning team. And no, I don't even think you would use him in a burning team. Burning team would be like Emily or Kenichi. But yeah, you would have to run him with like an Electro DPS. Actually, that's not that bad. Yeah, you'd have to run him with an Electro DPS. Best case scenario, you get healing, shields, and the quicken reaction. Worst case scenario, you get healing and shields. That sounds pretty great to me. But you gotta hear him cough. You gotta hear him cough F tier. Next we have Beto. Beto's a great like middle of the road character. You can build her to do so much. You can build her to focus on like normal attack, like damage. You can like her burst for like the electro that bounces off the enemies. You can build her based off of her skill. There's so much you can do. It's just a matter of what you have her built to do, I think. Like if you have her built for like the skill, like the counter, that's how I have her built. She'll do like okay. She won't do like an insane amount, because you've got to constantly wait for the counter to like it's not like an insanely long cooldown, but you've got to constantly wait for it, and it's so time pressed on the theater that it's just not gonna happen. Like if you have to wait for the counter for every attack, and you're like not doing much of anything else between them, and you're like switching between characters, it's like she won't come up that much, and she won't even like have like crazy like electro reactions. Like it just won't. It's just not there. But if you have a burst, then you probably have like the 4-piece emblem set. So you're probably like reacting, and you're getting your shield at all times, and you're getting the electro things jumping around. Then it's like quite good. If you ever for normal attack, I don't even know how strong she can really get with no like superconductor or anything like that. So it's like it's really hit or miss. Like it really depends on how you have her built, because like most of these characters are like kind of like you know how most of this top row is gonna go. You know how like the best way to build these and how to use them and whatever. Beto was like she can go south. Yeah, at worst you still have her shield though, which is nice. If you can get like if you have like the proper energy recharge and all that. Bennett, I don't really need to say. I don't even know how to formulate some of these characters. Bennett is just attack buff, healing, and pyro resonance. Of course, with Jelonin, you don't get any resonance because there's no other Chio character unless you're in Chiori. But yeah, to my knowledge, it's just not a good idea. Yeah, Bennett, I don't really have to say much. He's just great in these kinds of things. He can buff anyone. Him and like any like hyper carry DPS is like you've got the round. You've got 2 rounds like perfectly set. He's great. Chevreuse is man, she's really really fun. I'll put her in A tier. She's like somewhere in A tier. She's really really fun. The issue is you gotta get a full team of Pyro and Electro, and you gotta get them to be like, you know, they're Pyro and Electro are like going out like all the time. So you gotta have her with like, I usually run her with like Electro DPSs. So you gotta have her with like Toma or Zhang Ling, and then you gotta have like Electro characters that are just going in. You gotta have like a Shogun and like this girl Sarah or something like that, something along those lines. And then it's like, but then like you've got just so much like crazy stuff going on that one team. Like it's like an auto win kind of team, but it's like you're giving up so much. Like there's just so much going on. Like if you go Toma, then it's like fine. If you go Toma and like Dia or something, then it's like you're chilling. But like if you use like your Shogun, your Zhang Ling, your Kujo Sara, or like your Shinobu, your Chlorine, it's like damn, bro. Like I gotta use like Bomb Squad on like Ruin Golems, bro. Like come on, man. Like that's the only thing about her. You just gotta run too many goats with her. That's the only thing I don't like. And then like I found that like when I used up my Chevreuse, like that team of like Pyro and like Electro characters, like I lost like 2 of each. And then I was down like I was down 2 Pyro characters and 2 Electro characters. I just had a bunch of like Dendro characters, and I was like, oh shit, like I'm kind of like in a weird spot for the next few stages. But then you know you pull good, and it's like whatever, like little mini gacha like companion quest. But she's really good. She does healing, she buffs. I have her C6, so like I get the full package. I get the healing, I get the buffs, and then I just go ham. And I get this like the triple shot, bro. It goes crazy. Chlorine's a great one. Chlorine's like old reliable, man. She has everything covered on like all fronts. She has great damage. She has self-healing, and she has mobility. She can move around extremely fast. She can catch up to enemies and just mow them down in like seconds. And with like a decent team, like with some Dendro that stays up, like you're running with like Nahida or something, bro. She's going crazy off those quickens. You run her with like you got like a healer up, bro, like Shinobu or something. She just goes absolutely bonkers. So fun, so good. It's extremely great in all fronts in this. I really really like using her. Next up we have Kale. I never even used Kale, bro, but I'd imagine she'd be somewhere in C tier. Her Dendro application is like really good. I have her C6 and everything, but her Dendro application is like really good. I just don't know like if it would be good enough for this, because you know, like I said, there's no hydros, there's no bloom going on. Like she seems very out of place. She's a character that seems very out of place. Because Tainari, you can just go DPSing with Tainari. You can just go DPSing with Alhaitham. You can go shielding with this girl, and you can heal and shield with this guy. But Kole, she's made to be a support, like for like bloom and stuff. Like I can't see her doing much of anything unless you've got some like crazy like aimed shot Kale build. But that's just like a pipe dream, man. Next up we have Sino. Sino, Sino's like a good character, but he seems out of place here because like, so for one, you're building him with like Gilded Dreams, and the thing with Gilded Dreams is that like you gotta have like 4 different types in your team to get like the maximum like elemental mastery and buffs and boosts and whatnot. So unless you have like the supporting cast, you're probably not gonna have that. So that's already like it's a small negative, but like maybe you already ran him with like 2 Dendros or something. So then it's like, alright, whatever, right? But then you don't really get the bloom. You just get the quicken, and like you gotta stay on like Sino for like quite a long time when you use the like you don't have to stay on him when you use his burst. You can switch off at any time you want. But to get the to get the full thing of his burst, you gotta stay on him for a good minute. And like the only Dendro character that can keep up with that with that length of time for application is Nahida. And now you gotta use Nahida and him on the same team for like mad long. Like I don't know if that's like the best. I don't know if that's like the best use for your Nahida, or maybe it is. Maybe that is what you like to do with her. But like I don't even know. I honestly don't even know if you should bring Nahida into this challenge, right? Because it's not like I don't know if you can get like enough out of your Nahida to really justify it. There's not enough like bloom applications and whatnot. But yeah, he's still really strong, and if you can keep up with him, then it's like you get some really good damage. And if you defeat an enemy and you're like running towards the next one, like and then like the little eye thing pops up and you use it, it's got like a pretty good range on it. It tracks in. It's pretty solid. Like I used them and it was pretty fun, but I was like man, I barely did good, you know. Dia, my goat. I heckin' love Dia, man. She is like, she's such a goat, man. Like people spoke extremely ill of her, but throughout the years, I've been nothing but happy with pulling her. So what Dia does is you throw down her skill, and through some time intervals, if an enemy gets hit within the area of effect of her skill, they get hit with they get hit with pyro damage. Also, your allies in that field, they have like they basically have like poise, like they have like resistance to like stagger or whatever they call it in this game. They have that, and she takes the damage, but she takes some of the damage or percentage of the damage or all the damage, whatever it is. But she has a passive skill where if her HP gets too low, she automatically heals some of it over time, and it's a pretty good heal. She's an immortal character that's not a shield, but is I don't even know what to describe her as. She just takes all the hits, bro. She's just such a goat, and she does like the Dendro applications. Like I love using her in this because she's just phenomenal. Like since it's an area of effect, it's best to use her in like a boss fight or something. So I use her and like Shogun, and then like Sharuz and Sara for like I'll like save those for like the last 2 bosses, and I'll just absolutely decimate. Especially because this boss, the last 2 bosses where the Ruined Serpent from the Chasm and the Ice Dancers, I think it was the dude with the ice shield or whatever, and I used a similar team to that for the Ruined Serpent. Actually, I think I used Dia for something else. I think I used Shogun for those 2 teams, but I used Dia for something else. Dia came up more important for something else. I don't remember who she was supporting, but like she just fits so well in so many different team comps. She's like she's pyro application, and she's just this like pseudo shield, we'll say, and she's immortal. She'll just live forever. It's like it's so heckin' great. Like she's absolute goat, man. My deluxe fell short. My deluxe fell super short. I don't think I have like a crazy build on him. My numbers are like okay. I have the Crimson Witch set, but I don't have that good of a weapon on him. So like, I don't know if it's just like the power creep setting in because we don't have Cloud Retainer with him to like boost him up anymore. Because the luck without Cloud Retainer is like, it's a little bit of a nightmare. But with Cloud Retainer, his damage is just insane. I'm actually crowning his normal attack right now. But what's it called? Yeah, but without that Cloud Retainer, man, he just didn't do enough. He just wasn't strong enough, actually. It's not that he didn't do enough. He's actually quite quick, quite nimble. But like I would tap that skill and I'd just be like, man, what is this damage, bro? I gotta use his burst, do a normal attack to do like a fraction of like Arlecchino's like attack. He fell short because of power creep. It feels like if they made if the theater was easy enough for like Deluxe to do well, then like you wouldn't even blink doing it with like Arlecchino, right? So I guess that's why things are the way they are. But yeah, he just fell short. He fell short, but he wasn't horrendously useless, you know. He was still a good switch in, and the greatest tactic I said earlier, where you just spam skills and burst and just switch off. But yeah, he worked out really well in that. But like trying to build a team around him, I could have like him, Chevreuse, Bennett, and like Shinobu, and like he might still fall short. Next up is Emily, and like this is a character I don't know how to judge. I don't have her. I never played her. I don't know anyone who has her and has enjoyed her. I don't even know what to rank her. I don't want to put her in F tier because I don't actually know if she's F tier. And I also don't want to put her in like middle of the road because I actually don't even know if she's middle of the road. I'll put her in C tier because I really just don't know. I don't have her. I don't know anything about her. Like Emily's just so boring that like if I did any research on her, I think I would fall into hibernation. But this is basically a burning event, and that's where she excels in. So I imagine she wouldn't be that bad. I'll put her in B tier. Fuck it. This is all built around burning. I'll just assume she'll do good in burning. That can't be a bad assumption, right? Fischl. I personally don't have Fischl, but Fischl's just like she's just like a really, really good support character. I put her in A tier. I don't actually know, but like I'll put her in like low A tier. Cause what's it called? Cause I don't like Oz. Did I use Fischl? I think I'm remembering using Fischl, but I don't have. But I don't have a built Fischl. Why would I use Fischl? Maybe I just misclicked or something, or maybe I'm thinking of something else. So what's it called? But yeah, this is a really solid support character. I don't think I have to like gush over like how good she is, especially in like this kind of scenario with all electro based stuff. Next up is gaming. Gaming's like a pretty good sub DPS. I don't think he's a main DPS. I think he's a sub DPS. But I've heard good things about him. I imagine he'd do really well. And that's all I have to say. I don't have him built. I don't use him. I don't do any research on him. There's characters that I like don't really like care for, like him and Emily. Like I don't really care for them. They're not really integral to the story. They're not interesting people. They just like they don't have he doesn't have an interesting playstyle. She kind of does. Like a burning team is like cool, but it's just like a burning team's cool, but an overload team, that's where it's at. Hu Tao, man, Hu Tao's like falling from grace, man. I don't know what it is. Like I really don't know what it is. Hu Tao with no Zhongli, bro. Like she just like dies left and right. You start the challenge, she's at full health, and it's like, oh man, now I gotta optimize my Hu Tao. I gotta get her hit. Now I gotta wait for the enemy to like do all this stuff. I've gotta wait for a couple of uses of her skill to like finally get her down, and then like what team do you even like build her with? Like Overload Hu Tao? Overload Hu Tao sounds horrendous, dude. Burning Hu Tao doesn't sound that good either. Burning kind of in general, like unless it's maybe Emily or Kenichi, it just doesn't sound like it's strong enough to like mean anything, right? But Overload Hu Tao is like, all right, let's say you don't have C1 and you're using stamina on your charge attacks, right? Now they're overload, now they're blowing up, now you gotta run over to them, and then you gotta run over to them and use a charge attack. Your stamina's going down at the speed of light. And on top of that, you're trying to dodge attacks every now and then, because you might not have a shield character, you know? Like other than like, so you could use Dia, because she doesn't heal. You can't use Baizu, because they'll heal. You have Heal Tao, you don't want Heal Tao. Maybe you picked Layla for your Hu Tao. Or maybe you're using Toma, and like, come on, get real. It's just like, or Xinyan, and it's just like it just doesn't. She doesn't fit the bill, right? You gotta get her low HP, and there's no quick way of doing that in this challenge, right? Because everything's so time based. If you want to get like the perfect score and everything, so. So that's the first hurdle, right? You gotta get the HP low. You gotta have, I guess the first hurdle starts with having a decent team built for her in this, because you can't really have that many reactions. There's not really much going on. And her damage, like, bro, I've got C1 Hu Tao with some pretty good artifacts, and level 90 Staff of Homa, and I'm like, her damage shouldn't be that bad. But like, it's not like insanely bad, but it's like, man, like Arlecchino could do this level without any supports, and Hu Tao needs like mad support to keep up. Not even just like damage helping supports, like just sometimes like shielding supports and whatnot. It just doesn't like, it just doesn't. She just didn't click. It's kind of unfortunate. I really like Hu Tao and her playstyle. But you know, sometimes things change. Like you can't always be the best. Someone who's got to come in, right? Next up is Kave. Kave, I didn't even bother playing, bro. I didn't even like. I didn't even bother using him. There's no his main gimmick is to blow up dendro cores. Unless you're playing Xingqiu, or unless you're drafting him specifically for Hydro Mimics, he's serving you zero purpose. And those Hydro Mimics, Al-Haytham fights them the same, maybe even better. Tanari does that. Baizu does that. Like those Hydro Mimics, like you can use like anyone. And even if you don't use Dendro on them, like Arlecchino would just eviscerate them on every Vaporize hit. He is literally like, he's just not meant to be here. Like there's nothing for him to do. He just can't do it. He just can't cut it, man. It is what it is. Kaching's in this like, Kaching's like around the same tier as these guys, where it's like they're strong DPS. They're a decently strong DPS, but it's just like there's just so many better contenders that can like these guys, like most of these guys can like kind of carry a floor on their own, maybe with a little bit of help for some of them. It's kind of hard to put Arlecchino in the same tier as like Chlorine, because like Chlorine needs a little bit of help, just a little bit, but Arlecchino can kind of just run shit. But like Kaching, you'll need stuff going on for Kaching, you know. She'll need the help, that's for sure. Next up we have Kenichi. Kenichi is like super fun. Kenichi is super fun, super strong, super quick. He's gliding around, and he automatically locks onto enemies. So as long as they're in a distance, right? So if you tap a skill and you're firing on an enemy, and then you get the big burst and it kills them, while his skill is still up, he'll just lock on to the next guy, as long as they're close by. Or if you run to them, he'll just lock on. That doesn't require any stamina or anything unless you gotta run to them, but pretty negligible, since His skill doesn't use up any stamina, and you just spam attacks. And you have him with like Toma, Zhengling, Dia, maybe Gaming. I think. No. I don't think he has any off-field pyro. But yeah, you run with like any of these guys to get burning going, and it's lit. You're going in, and you just his thing fills up so fast, and you blow up. You just do so much damage. He's great. He's a fun, easy time. It's like no setup required. There's no brain cells being used. You just burst with this guy, skill with this girl, and burst with this girl, and you're good. You can even just throw down the skill. You have little Guoba attacking him for fire, and then he misses because I fucking hate Guoba. Lisa's like, it's like B tier. So I have her built to like spam her skill, which is really fun, by the way. If you ever see 6, you definitely got to go for that. You definitely got to go for the Lisa skill spam. It's a great time. But even so, like enemies aren't grouped up for that long, and like if you're doing a game mode where they are grouped up, which is like the protect the monolith, if you're doing that game mode with her, then you gotta switch back to her, right, for her thing to activate, for Constellation 6 to activate, to mark everyone with the 3 charge, and then you gotta hold down her skill until it's fully charged, and you gotta let it go. You've gotta wait for it to recharge. And that time, you're not doing anything. So the enemies might be attacking the monolith, and enough cycles of that, they're just gonna like damage it too much for you to do anything. And then like there's like big enemies that just like don't move around much, like bosses and stuff like that. Actually, this set of bosses aren't that good for Lisa either, because the Rune Serpent moves around a lot. One of them's the Thunder Manifestation. That's not gonna happen. The Dendro Chicken, he kind of moves around a bit, and there's much better options to use. And then the Ice Wind, she's not gonna like. If you stand still for that long, for her to hold her skill, you're gonna get wrecked by some random flurry of attacks. That boss is like super aggressive. It's not a tough boss, but it's a very aggressive boss. So like she doesn't do enough, but the saving grace is that she has a burst that does electro application and lowers enemies' defenses. I think it's just generally defenses, which is really good to have. It's like phenomenal. If you use like Beta, which uses like electro, which loses like one of her constellations, enemies lose electro resistance, and she lowers defense with her burst. And then you have like some random you use her burst, and then you use Shogun. Like it's not like the best team you could have in the world, but it's pretty decent for the theater. Not even just Shogun, you could have Chlorinde or Kaching. Then you do all that just for her to be like, okay, that's like slight issue there. But her burst is good. It does a decent amount. And you have her skill to fall back on if you have her C6 like I do. If you don't have her C6, she's probably C tier. But I have her C6, so I'll put her in B tier. Lenny, I don't even own this character. I hate Lenny. He annoys me. Just his existence, just too much for me, man. However, he is a pretty strong DPS. He's a strong bow character DPS, which is like the first. No, it's Tanari. The first Dendro, that's for sure. First Dendro that we've come across, because this girl exists. But he's fast. You can hit enemies from so far. I don't think he actually be that close to enemies. So I imagine him being somewhere in B tier. I wouldn't know where, but from what I've heard, he's not exactly weak. He's a pretty strong character. He's not the best. His dad's the best. His father, to say, is the best. But I like the idea. If I played him, I'd like the idea of being able to shoot enemies from like across the stage, as I'm like headed towards them or something. Next up, we have Nahida. Usually I put Nahida in like a super S tier, but I'm gonna put her in just A tier because like I said, there's just you don't get the full Nahida effect. You get the nah. You don't get the Hida. It's just, there's no bloom. There's no bloom. There's no hyper bloom. There's no all this. There's no teams with like a bunch of different There's no teams with a bunch of different elements. At most you can have like 3 elements, so you don't get you don't get those buffs from a burst. Like you just don't get the full. You don't get the full Nahida effect. You don't get the whole thing going. But you do get the super goated Dentro application that she offers, which is a great time no matter what, man. She just absolutely goes in. So like for your quicken aggravates for like Chlorine or Cyno, she'll do great. For your burning, I don't know if you even run her with burning for these two. I don't know about that, but she'll fit some electro teams. You could even run her with Kaching, though that seems like a bit excessive because Kaching, her uptime on like electro isn't like an insanely long time. Next up we have Razor. You can do some cool things with Razor. If you have like C6 Bennett, it's C6 Bennett, and then like if you like save your Zing Show and like Nahida, you can have like a really cool team there. Or you could just have like an electro team, not an electro team, a hyper bloom, like a regular hyper bloom team, not just like hyper bloom version, C6 Bennett. So you just need like a Nahida or another Dendro character, Zing Show. And I don't even know if you can do like Quicken with him. I guess you could. I guess he is an electro DPS. But he just I don't know like where his damage goes. So I don't have him. I didn't use him. So I throw him in B tier because Razor's just a really strong, fast character. Yeah, always has been. He's kind of been like a reliable on that front. That's why he's right next to Beto. He's kind of just been goated since like day one. But yeah, like I said, I don't use him. I don't know enough about him. And like if you ask anyone about Razor, if they're a Razor diehard fan, they'll tell you he's the best character in the game, and they'll have like a book trying to prove to you why he's the best character in the game. And then it's like, if you need all that, and if you need all that to make an argument, then let's take it easy, man. And they'll start telling you about like team comps and everything. But one of his best things back in the day, I don't know if it still is, but like you'd run him in like super conduct and do like crazy physical damage like really really fast all the time. The issue is like there's just no super conduct unless you bring Layla just for Razor. Then it's like, then I know you're a Razor main. Kujasara is like not like, she's like really good at what she does, but she's not like insanely good at like much else. Like her burst is nice. It does some damage, but that's not why you're using her. You're not using her because her burst does some decent damage. You're using her because you have her C6 and you have Shogun, and her skill's gonna buff your crit damage of your electro characters. But what makes her really fun and really cool in this is that you don't have to just use her with Shogun. You can use her with any electro character here. You can use it with Chlorine, Cyno, Kaching, Beto, Lisa, Razor, Miko. I don't know about Fischl, because you wouldn't really run her as a main DPS. But you can run her with any of these DPS electro characters, and she'll just buff them. Like, I know it's hard to imagine her not using her with Shogun, but she works with like anyone, any electro character, any electro DPS character. She'll just absolutely just make them insane. So that's really good. Like she's like specific yet generic at the same time, Sethos, charge attack man. I don't even know if he's good. Like I've never met anyone who's actually used Sethos. I've never met anyone who's like built him or like, but he looks really cool. Like that charged arrow, just like it looks insane. Like the piercing shot, So it's such a cool thing. If I get him C6, I might build him one day. But like until then, like I don't know about him. I don't know if he fits this. I don't know if he wants to do reactions. I don't know if he just like if you just want to run him with Sara and just do crit. I really don't know how he works. I don't know what he's doing. So I'm just gonna throw him. I'm just gonna throw him in F tier because I just don't know. And like I've never heard anything about them, right? If you never heard about a character, it's like they're like they can't be good if you've never really heard about them, which probably isn't like the proper mindset to have. But it's like in something like this, like you've heard about Arlecchino, you've heard about Bennett, you've heard about all these characters, and these top 2 rows, like you've heard about all these characters. Dia for the wrong reasons, but people are wrong. What's it called? But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll put him in C tier. I'll put him in C tier because I don't know. I'll be nice about him. Shinobu's GOAT. Shinobu's great. She's S tier. She's great. She's great. Electro application. She's a healer. If you have the Millilith, she's a buffer. If you have the Freedom Sworn, she's an extra buffer. And against certain enemies, like her burst isn't like insane, but against certain enemies, it can really get the hits in. So like for like the Setsek Winnet and the Ruin Serpent, like it just like she's just like you pop that burst and it just like destroys them and then you just get staggered. So for situations like that, she's just like insanely good. And obviously there is a Ruin Serpent here. And the thing about the Ruin Serpent that's annoying is that it keeps like diving in and out. And there's like a time-based thing, so you gotta hit him as much as you can. So if you can just switch to her burst and then just knock it down right away, it's great. And you have like infinite uptime on her skill, and her skill is the culmination of like the first 4 things I said. So she's just constantly just going in, man. She's great. I really enjoy playing her. And then we have the Shogun, the GOAT, the greatest to ever do it. There's so many ways you can build her Shogun nowadays. It's really cool and unique how much this character has changed throughout the years. Before it was just like a burst DPS, and you know the C2 burst DPS, and you like go in with her. And then it was like sub DPS, kind of just throw her out there every now and then, and just skill and whatnot. And then the EM Shogun pulled up, and the EM Shogun's like a whole different ballpark. It's a whole different world, and like no matter what you go for, like you can do like anything here, like with her. It's just like phenomenal. And if you what's it called? If you have me added, I have a C6 Shogun, C6 R1, and it just goes absolutely insane. Like every run I do of the theater that has Electro, I always try to get the Shogun and hold the team for her to fight the last 2 bosses to just smoke them. I have no trouble with the bosses. I have no trouble whatsoever. She absolutely just smokes levels, dude. It's so fun. Next up, we have Toma. Toma's pretty good. Toma's really good. So I haven't built. Luckily, if you have Toma built for like HP shield, HP thick shield, you're not really gonna be like insane about them. You're gonna be like, all right, I have a nice shield. I have a decent shield, right? I haven't built for EM and reactions. I've built for EM and reactions, and this is all about EM reactions, man. Him and that overload team, him with anything, him and burning into overload, like he's just not burning into overload, just like overload. Like his overload is just like it just starts going in, man. Him and Kaching, him and Chlorine, him with like a Beto burst up. Like there's so much you can do with him. Him with a Hu Tao, as I said earlier. Like he just, at worst he's a shield. At worst he's an okay shield. His shield's like paper thin. Actually, his shield's paper thin for me because I don't have HP on him. But like yeah, if at worst you get a shield, at best you get shield and like some like really good pyro application, which is really fun. It works really well. It works extremely well with Kanichi. That's why I was thinking burning. It works really well with this guy. This guy wants burning. You get that shield on him, he's safe and protected. and you get that burning. His meter's filling up in like seconds. He's going crazy when you got this up. So yeah, Toma, man, if you got Knight, he's a really fun character to play with him. He's also fun with I hate them, because you just constantly get the burning. So if you have like other things up, if you have like Shinobu's skill up, yeah, where is she? Yeah, if you have Shinobu's skill up, and then Toma's burst, and then this guy, like burning into overload. Zhangling. I personally hate Zhangling, but in a game mode like this, where you're just throwing shit out there, sometimes it's just the teams. That's just the cards in your hand that fate has dealt you, you know. And just throwing out this strong burst for just reactions, for overload reactions. I don't really imagine it doing well in burning, but just throwing her burst out there for overload reactions could be pretty solid. It moves really fast, and you can just keep up with your enemies. Seems pretty great. Yanfei at the bottom of the barrel once again. Some of these are usual suspects. I'm not 100% sure in Chiori. I wouldn't put my money on it, but Yanfei, I'm pretty sure. Even if you ever C4 and you get that shield, even if you ever C6, I don't know what C6 Yanfei does, but even if you ever C6, I don't imagine she's gonna be that useful. She's like a worse version of Klee, because they're both charge attack, pyro catalyst characters. She's a worse version of Klee, and Klee's not that good to begin with. So you can imagine how downhill things go with Yanfei. Next up, we have Yao Yao. Yao Yao is another character that's like really good, but kind of out of place. She's like up here with Baizu. I'll put her next to Baizu, because like the Dendro application isn't like insanely like crazy in this, but like, you know, of course, if you want your Quicken, she'll do that solidly, get your Quicken. But she also is a healer, so even if you don't care about like the reactions, she'll just heal your characters, which is great. I love having healers in this thing, because you can just be extremely aggressive, and just like you should be aggressive and just go in and just get healed. I don't have Yao Yao, but what some of my friends do, and they constantly tell me about how great she is at healing and everything. And yeah, at worst she gets some good healing. At best, you're getting your reactions and the healing. That's pretty good. Last up, we have Yoimiya. I drafted Yoimiya, but I don't remember ever playing her. I don't think I used her. Fix our view a little bit. Get all that nonsense out of here. So yeah, I drafted Yoimiya. I don't remember using her, but she is a really good DPS character. She's really fast. She hits hard, but she's really fast, and that's what I really enjoy about her playing her. I actually have her like C2, because way back in the day, I think the video is still up. You can check that out. Where is she? I was getting, oh shit, I didn't mean to move her. I was getting Kirara. Yeah, I was getting Constellations on Kirara, or I was just getting Kirara. I don't remember what it was. And I was wishing on the Yoimiya banner, and then I got like C2 Yoimiya. I went from C0 to C2, and I don't even remember how many constellations I got for Kirara. But yeah, I don't even remember what C2 does. Like C1 or 2, I don't remember what either one of them do. But she's great. She's strong. She's fun. She's fast. I just didn't use her because like she just never came up. I don't even remember if I put her in a team. Like she just never came up. She's not like my first pick. She's not like my first option, because like there's just so many characters that do similar things, right? Like I haven't played her as long as I've played Hu Tao. Like I've played Hu Tao since like 1.4, whenever Hu Tao came out. Like I've had Hu Tao since the beginning. I skipped Yoimiya. I only got Yoimiya on her Sumeru rerun, right? And I've wanted Deluxe for years, so I played Deluxe. So I played Deluxe over her because I've always wanted to play him. I've always wanted him since the beginning of the game. I play Hu Tao over her because I'm just so familiar with Hu Tao. And then like I'll play like Arlecchino, you know, because it's Arlecchino. So like I just never picked her because, you know, it just seems like the Yoimiya thing to just like there's always just like better options whenever Yoimiya is involved. She's not bad. She's not a bad option. She's not a bad character by any means. But it always seems like every like banner run, there's been like a better option either coming up or right before her. Every banner rerun, she's like alongside like a super goat or something. And like if you're picking her to DPS character, it's like her or like Arlecchino. Like who do you want as your pyro DPS? Or like Lenny, who's like I think he's better. I'm not actually 100% sure. But it's like there's always something better you can do. But like she's great. She's good. Like there's no reason to not run her. And yeah, that brings us to the end. Now obviously this isn't what I think about these characters, you know, because I think a lot of characters here are like better than what the tier list says. Like obviously like Chiori or like Kave. Like I think a lot of these characters are better than what they are. But I think in this specific scenario of this hyper specific Imaginarium theater with such a strange strange set of reactions, right? Burning reaction with like no melt, burning with like overload. Overload's the way you capitalize, but then you have overload, and like overload comes with its own set of like downsides, you know, sending enemies way back and whatnot. That shit's kind of annoying. But like in just this hyper specific just scenario for Imaginarium Theater Season 5, this is what I got going. And you know, maybe you don't agree, maybe you have different characters built, you know, because I don't have all these characters built. Let's be realistic. I don't have all these characters, and and some of these characters, most of these characters I do have built, and I don't have them at like their highest capacity of like, I don't have every character built at like talent level 10, like C6 or 5. You know, it's like I don't have every character at like the best it can be. So it's like, you know, sometimes you're just a wrong judge because you just don't have things built properly or whatever the case may be. So, you know, don't get too upset at me, you know. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know who you guys are bringing into the theater, right? Let me know who your like hyper carries are, because like my Shogun hyper carry, dude, or your friends like characters, dude. I met someone with C6 R5, Chlorine, and I saw him in action. It's like his damage was just like out of this world. I've never seen any character like. We were fighting the Arlecchino boss fight. It was me, him, and 2 other randoms. And he just absolutely eviscerated the boss fight, basically on his own. And I never saw anything like that ever on the Arlecchino boss fight. But yeah, if you made it this far, made it right to the end, then leave a comment with your honest answer. If you knew off the top of your head that Bennett was spelled with 2 T's. Thank you guys for watching. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.